Have you ever wondered how these two beautiful people got together? How they met? Have you ever wanted to read a good Star Trek book, but also get some tinglies down below? Well, then have I got the book for you.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
So say we all.
Engage!
This is my last book for a while in my Star Trek novel series. This is one of the last Star Trek books I read in my youth. It was suggested to me by a very good friend of mine, a true Trekkie, the type that actually goes to, conventions, collects, cards and whatever, all related to Star Trek. And he was like, well, if you like the Shatnerverse books, you should probably read Imzadi. Now I know why. You were a dirty, dirty little boy. This is the New York Times best-selling Star Trek book, Imzadi, and it tells a fascinating story of Riker in the future as an old man going back in time to save Deanna Troi. And then we also get glimpses of how they met on Betazoid before Riker ever joined the Enterprise. So it really kind of takes place in really kind of three different time frames. But the point of this video isn't to rehash the plot. After all, this video is spoiler free. Read the book. This video is to talk about how this book impacted me as a young man and aspiring writer. Written by Peter David. If you don't know who Peter David is, we just lost him not too long ago. And he was a real nice guy, very active on social media, took the time to talk to all of his fans. Peter David is a well-established author. He wrote not just for Star Trek, but he wrote comic books, other novels. Great writer. So this is not your let's pump out a Star Trek book every month series. This is a true standalone novel. And it's so good that many years later, they asked Peter to write a sequel called Imzadi 2 about Troi and Worf. I'm not going to get into that book. I know I read it. I don't really remember it. But this book is so good. It's so well written. Everyone in my house has read this book, and they're not even huge Star Trek fans. They sure as heck have never read a Star Trek book before, but they read this book. I'm reading the back, a little synopsis of the book here, and it says, years before they served together on board the USS Enterprise, trademark by the way, Commander William Riker and ship's counselor Deanna Troi had a tempestuous love affair on her home planet of Betazoid. Now their passions have cooled and they serve together as friends. Yet the memories of that time linger, and Riker and Troi remain Imzadi. So in the pilot episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, we're clearly shown that these two have had some kind of history. The nickname Imzadi is introduced right away in that first pilot episode, and it's very clear they had hooked up at some point previously. According to an interview with Marina Sirtis during the Picard Season 3, all the PR and the interviews, she had mentioned that, they introduced this in the pilot, and then the writers never really wanted to go back to it. But according to her, every time that Marina and Jonathan Frakes had a scene together, they would really play up that aspect of their relationship, that there was something in the past, very deep, they had this deep connection, and even though they weren't dating now, that there was still a lot of love and respect there. And it kind of forced the writers into acknowledging it at some point in future episodes. If that's true, I have to say it worked. But if you want to know, in very well written prose, what it was like for a naked William Riker to sit on a wooden bench at an Imzadi or at a Betazoid wedding. I think they're at a wedding. It's been a minute. The description and feeling of Will Riker's bare bottom hitting a bench at a Betazoid function or wedding. It's in this book. It's in this book. This isn't 50 Shades of Grey, but it got a little warm still. You can't see on the cover, and I don't want to give this away, but there is a throwback to Star Trek TOS right there. So if you haven't read this book, this is all I'm going to show you. I don't want to give anything away. Oh, hey, I was just reading this incredibly thick book. If you hit that subscribe button, maybe I can take a break from this monstrosity and make another video. But if you're going to read a Star Trek novel, if you want something that's a little more adult, A little less Star Trek universe-y, like the last book I talked about, which was Federation. Great book. Judith and Garfield Reeve Stevens, beautiful authors. But if you want something that's a little more character-driven, where you don't have to know everything about the Star Trek universe, read Imzadi. And the reason I want to talk about it as an aspiring writer at the time, and now professional writer in Hollywood, one of the hardest things to write, especially as a newer writer, is romance, sensuality in a way that isn't, crossing a line, dirty, risque, as they used to say. And this book pulled it off. So this was sort of my first really reading of something that had that very human, very natural element to all our lives, which was sensuality. And it does it in a way that is both fun to read, yet tasteful and never crosses the line. And it really, yes, I was in probably middle school when I read the book, going into high school. So hormone stuff aside, but really, I really mean this as a writer. I'm like, man, okay, this is how you can kind of write around that human aspect without having to get, dirty and graphic and 50 Shades of Grey. It sounds stupid, but it really is a hard thing to write when you want to write these stories that involve aspects of that relationship, without worrying about, are you crossing a line? Like, what should I, how do I describe this simple stuff that we all experience? Hopefully, I don't know, some Trekkies might never know the true touch of a woman, but that's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. Settle down. But it's hard to write. This video is sponsored by me, Trader Bubba, at TraderBubba.com, where you can get this fun shirt. I survived Wolf 359. Did you? Did you really survive? I've also got this fun Flux Capacitor Repair tee. Bubba's Flux Capacitor Repair, always on time, guaranteed. All proceeds do go to charity. The charity does change once in a while, so check back for that. So get your shirt today. Link is in the description down below. It's about love conquers all. And it's about what would you do for the one you loved. At the end of the day, Imzadi, great book. Can you tell a story for everyone within the Star Trek universe? I guess is kind of the question. And Imzadi was the first Star Trek book that I read that I truly felt anybody could read and enjoy, no matter their level of fandom in Star Trek. Guys, I'm Trader Bubba. Thanks so much for watching me here at Bubba Breaks Sci-Fi. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, I've got a whole playlist here with the other Star Trek novels, and another great video here should be also popping up. If you don't see the end screens, look in the description down below. I'll have some great stuff there as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.